The night everything changed, began with silence. A silence so heavy, it felt like the world itself had given up breathing. Daniel Harper sat alone in the dark living room of his small rented house, staring at the final notice in his trembling hands. The words blurred through his tired eyes. Eviction 48 hours. He read it again, and again, as if the letters might rearrange themselves, as if fate might feel sorry for him just once. But nothing changed. Outside, cold rain tapped against the window like quiet sympathy. Inside, the only sound was the soft breathing of his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, asleep on the worn couch beside him. Her tiny fingers were still wrapped around the old teddy bear he had given her years ago when life still felt safe. Before everything fell apart, Daniel pressed his lips together, trying not to break. He had lost his job 3 months ago. His savings were gone. His car had been repossessed. His wife had left 2 years earlier, choosing a life without struggle. Without him. And now, he was about to lose the last thing he had left. A home for his daughter. He closed his eyes, whispering a quiet apology into the darkness. "I'm sorry, Lily, I tried." His voice cracked. But he didn't cry. Because fathers don't always get the luxury of breaking down. Sometimes, they just keep breathing through the pain. Even when it hurts. Even when it feels impossible. Even when hope disappears. Daniel stood slowly and walked toward the kitchen, opening the nearly empty fridge. Half a carton of milk. 2 eggs. A bottle of cheap ketchup. That was everything. He smiled bitterly. Tomorrow, he would somehow make those eggs feel like a feast. Because when you're a parent, even nothing becomes something. He turned off the light and looked at the clock. 11:57 p.m. 3 minutes until midnight. 3 minutes until another day of pretending everything would be okay. 3 minutes until another day of lying to his daughter with a gentle smile. He walked back to the couch, covering Lily with a thin blanket. She stirred slightly. "Daddy, are we still going to the park tomorrow?" She whispered sleepily. Daniel swallowed. "Of course, sweetheart. Promise. Promise." He kissed her forehead softly. And for a moment, the world didn't feel so cruel. Until a distant rumble echoed through the night. Low, deep, powerful. At first, Daniel thought it was thunder. But then the sound grew louder. Closer. Stronger. Engines. Multiple engines. Roaring through the quiet street. Headlights flashed across the curtains. Daniel's heart began to pound. The sound stopped directly outside his house. Then silence. Complete silence. He frowned, confused. Who would come here at this hour? He walked slowly toward the door, every step filled with uncertainty. Then, knock, knock, knock. Heavy, confident, unexpected. Daniel hesitated. His life had already fallen apart. What else could go wrong? He opened the door, and froze. 20 motorcycles lined the street like a scene from a movie. Their chrome surfaces reflected the streetlights like quiet thunder. 20 women stood beside them. Strong, confident, wearing black leather jackets, boots, determined expressions. At the front stood a tall woman with piercing blue eyes and long dark hair flowing beneath her helmet. She stepped forward slowly, her voice calm but powerful. "Are you Daniel Harper?" Daniel blinked in confusion. "Yes." She studied his face carefully, as if confirming something important. Then she smiled softly, a smile filled with warmth, and something deeper. Something emotional. "We've been looking for you." Daniel's mind raced. Looking for him. Why? He had never seen these women before. "I think you have the wrong person," he said nervously. The woman shook her head gently. "No." Her eyes softened. "We finally found the right one." She removed her gloves slowly. "My name is Victoria Hayes." The name meant nothing to Daniel. But something about her presence felt familiar. Safe. Powerful. "I know this is strange," she continued. "But may we come in?" Daniel hesitated. 20 strangers. Midnight. His life already in pieces. But something in her eyes told him this moment mattered. He stepped aside quietly. They entered respectfully. One by one. No noise. No arrogance. Just quiet confidence. Lily stirred awake, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy, who are they?" Victoria knelt gently in front of her. "Hi, Lily." The little girl looked surprised. "How do you know my name?" Victoria's eyes glistened slightly. "Because, your father once saved my life." Daniel's heart skipped. Saved her life. He searched his memory desperately. Then suddenly, A moment from years ago resurfaced. Rain. A broken-down motorcycle. A young woman stranded on a dangerous roadside. Men approaching her aggressively. Daniel had simply stopped, helped, stayed until she was safe. He never asked her name. Never expected anything in return. Just did what felt right. Victoria smiled softly. You probably don't remember, but kindness never forgets. She looked around the small house. Her expression changed. Concern, pain, respect. You helped me when I had nothing. Her voice trembled slightly. Now, it's our turn. Behind her, the other women began placing boxes gently on the table. Groceries, warm blankets, toys, clothes. Daniel stood speechless. Victoria continued. That night, I was running from a life I didn't choose. She paused. I was the daughter of a billionaire family, trapped in a world of control and expectations. Daniel's eyes widened. But your kindness reminded me, I could choose my own path. She gestured toward the women. We built something together. A community. A family. Women helping women. People helping people. She looked directly at him. And we never forgot the man who showed us what real strength looks like. Daniel's voice barely formed words. I only helped for a few minutes. Victoria smiled. Sometimes, a few minutes changes someone's entire life. She pulled an envelope from her jacket. Inside, a document. Daniel's hands trembled as he read. Mortgage approval. Paid in full. A small house. In his name. His eyes filled with tears. I can't accept this. Victoria shook her head gently. This isn't charity. This is gratitude. One of the bikers stepped forward, placing a small pink bicycle beside Lily. For the park tomorrow, she winked. Lily's face lit up brighter than the sunrise. Daddy, look. Daniel broke down. For the first time in years. He cried. Not from pain, but from relief. From kindness. From hope. Victoria placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You didn't lose everything, Daniel. You were simply being prepared for something greater. He looked around the room. Strangers who felt like family. Warmth replacing fear. Light replacing darkness. And suddenly, midnight didn't feel so lonely anymore. Months later, Daniel stood outside his new home, watching Lily ride her bicycle freely. Laughter filled the air. Victoria approached, handing him a small envelope. Inside, a job offer. Director position at a charitable foundation. You help people without expecting anything, she smiled. That's exactly who we need. Daniel looked at Lily, then at Victoria. Life had changed, not because of luck, but because kindness always finds its way back. Sometimes slowly, sometimes unexpectedly, but always, beautifully. That night, 20 engines echoed through the quiet street once more. But this time, Daniel wasn't afraid of the sound. Because sometimes, hope arrives loudly. And sometimes, miracles wear leather jackets. If this story touched your heart, please like heart. Comment what you felt crying. Subscribe for more emotional cinematic stories sparkles. Your support helps us create more meaningful stories that inspire the world.